Special coverage on KCPT of the Greater Kansas City Chamber's Big Five initiatives is funded by Burns and McDonnell, with additional financial support from Swope Community Enterprises, and by
Coming up on The Local Show, bringing engineering into the classroom with the people who practice it. Also a peek into the Stowers Institute, full of fruit flies and world-class researchers. The Kansas City Ballet prepares to bid adieu to William Whitener, and the world pays tribute to the horrors of the Holocaust.
principal funding for The Local Show provided by Francis Family Foundation, Frederick and Louise Hartwig Family Fund, Kaufman Foundation, Healthcare Foundation of Greater Kansas City, Johnson County Community College, John and Effie Spees Memorial Trust, Bank of America trustee, Richard J. Stern Foundation for the Arts, Commerce Bank trustee, and KCPT members. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Randy Mason. Welcome to The Local Show. In about a month, the Kansas City Ballet's Board of Directors hopes to be able to choose the company's next artistic director, someone to replace William Whitener, who's heading back to New York City after 17 years at the helm. The new hire will be only the fourth they've had in their 55-year history. As part of our Perform Arts series, in conjunction with KC Studio Magazine, it seemed the perfect time to check in on William's legacy and the overall state of Kansas City's premier dance company.
The Joffrey Ballet, we had a variety of choreographers like Jerome Robbins, who developed West Side Story, and he also made ballets. And then Bob Fosse, I had experience with him. So that kind of experience is something I've been able to share. Here's a Merce Cunningham piece. We had a piece by Anne Reinking, the great Broadway star. That's Twyla Tharp's The Golden Section. I was in the original production in 1982.
You don't need to be a big-time dance devotee to recognize the names on William Whitener's resume. The caliber of artists he's worked for and with throughout an illustrious career, now poised, as he likes to put it, at the beginning of its third act.
This is what helped to build our reputation here, that we were retrieving dances that might otherwise get lost. Dance is very fragile. It only exists when it's being performed. It's not like a painting on a wall. You have to revive it and find the right performer for it.
I think I met Bill the minute he got here. And what I began to see, which I thought was nice, is he immediately was very open about expanding the scope of what he wanted the ballet to be able to do. Because he has been in major ballet companies and major modern companies, he had a very different perspective.
It's not bad. We'll work on it. Are you on the right tempo?
During his 18-year tenure, the Whitener touch has been applied to works across the spectrum of dance. But the house specialty, you might say, has been long-form dramatic works that often bring singers and actors into the mix as well. Ambitious ballets like Tom Sawyer, Romeo and Juliet, Carmina Burana, Midsummer Night's Dream, first performed in 1996, then again last month as part of Williams' Kansas City Swan Song.
Basically, when you're making a new ballet, you're trying to get it right. And what does that mean? What's right? You don't actually know until you get in front of the public. But the more you create, the more adept you become at knowing what's not right, and then trying to fix as much as you can before the curtain goes up. A lot of choreographic process is problem solving, and you deliberately create problems for yourself so that your solutions will be artful. If it's too easy, it's probably not going to be that exciting on the stage.
A lot of time when you're dancing, you're doing the steps, but then you've got to absorb the style and the motive of the choreography. And if he speaks to that, like if he talks about Twyla Tharp or whoever, he knows them so well, he could say, well, this is why she created, and this is it. And I think that becomes a rich, rich tapestry for the dancers to work on.
William's greatest strength was the company that he has put together and his programming. I can hardly think of a time when I've walked out of the theater as a seasoned subscriber and been disappointed.
It was clear that there was no talking him out of it, that he was going to do his next thing, and plenty of time to find the next person to come in and take the company to whatever its next moment is going to be.
Whoever that might turn out to be, and over 50 have applied, will be getting what Jeff Bentley thinks deserves to be called a plum job. Taking the reins of an artistically solid troupe that's free of debt, performing in a beautiful new venue, and for the first time ever, working from a base of operations spacious enough to host the public at First Friday events like this.
This is very important, the person holding center.
The renovation of Union Station's old powerhouse has been nothing short of a game changer for the company.
When you walk across the threshold, most people kind of stop in their tracks.
There's so much light and windows. My first thing is I want to do leap grand jetés across this floor. I mean, it makes you want to just move expansively.
And that, I think, is the magic of this building, is that it gives us a library of opportunities that we haven't even opened the covers on yet. This has been called probably the most beautiful center for dance in the world.
We'd like to think it's primarily a center for creating work, creating dancers, creating technique for young students and for professionals to carry on. There's some creation going on right now.
Keeping the Bollender Center buzzing with activity around the clock is the eventual goal here. As a welcoming place for the dance community to watch dancers making dances, a choreography showcase, or as a site for the Fringe Festival once again this summer. But when it comes to foot traffic, it's still dance classes and the ballet school that keep the 7 studios humming. Though few of the so-called bunheads will likely ever go pro, chances are good that many will become tomorrow's ticket buyers.
It's great fun for me to come with my daughter, who was one of the original students at the school, and bring her daughter and see some of her friends that she danced with their children. I mean, I know Todd is looking down, just thrilled over the opportunity the company has to grow in this building.
Our mission is to make Kansas City a destination for dance, and we are well on our way.
The season and the Whitener era comes to its conclusion with a lively mix of Kansas City jazz and even a piece set to the golden tones of William Shatner, with performances at the Kauffman Center May 3rd to May 12th. Senior producer Pam James joins us now, not so much for her dancing skills, but because she's also helping us cover stories from the life sciences. That's one of the focuses of Kansas City's Big 5 initiatives, isn't it?
That's right, Randy. Life sciences is a multi-billion-dollar industry here with over 240 companies involved in the health of human, animals, and plant health. But it's also an industry that can be a little complex and very intimidating. Take Stowers Institute, for instance, the Emerald City of Kansas City's life sciences. It opened in 2000 with a jaw-dropping endowment of $2 billion from the founder of American Century Investment, Jim Stowers, and his wife. Over the last decade, it's attracted some of the world's finest medical researchers. But what exactly are they researching? Well, I want to take you behind the green curtain to see some of the magic behind these wizards of science.
When it comes right down to it, the most important thing you need to know about Stowers is that their research is critical to the understanding of diseases like leukemia, Alzheimer's, and birth defects. And what do all of these diseases have in common?
So as a molecular biologist, I will tell you it's all molecular mix-up, right? So you could have in a cell, within its nucleus, you have the DNA, which encodes for all the information that it requires to make you and I. And there are mutations that happens within this DNA, and the mutations could be within the region that are involved in transcription, or could be mutation within the regions that are involved in segregations, or mutations within the region that are involved in machinery which are called enhancers that bind and regulate gene expression, or could be translocation where the chromosomes break and they realign. All of these molecular mix-up, one way or another, sort of throws a monkey wrench, if you will, into the business of cellular processes, and that causes diseases. And our job as molecular biologists is to find out what are these molecular mix-ups, and then take this information, and hopefully the pharmaceutical industry would be able to develop targeted therapeutics to treat the diseases.
So the work that goes on here is not how do we develop a drug, but the work that goes on here is instead how do we understand the very fundamental processes of life that overall will then help to develop an understanding that give researchers all over the world handles into how to intervene therapeutically.
So Stowers is not a drug maker, nor do they dream up cures. But their research is instrumental in identifying misregulated genes in childhood leukemia, as in Dr. Shalotafard's lab, or in other labs researching the molecular mix-ups that cause birth defects or Alzheimer's. This critical research is possible because Jim and Virginia Stowers wanted their scientists to be free from normal research constraints.
Many scientists gradually became paper pushers who had to spend an enormous amount of time raising funds to support their research. What Jim and Virginia decided to do instead, as they founded this institute, was to build it with a very substantial endowment, the income from which could then be used to provide continuing research support for all of our laboratories.
And on top of that, the resources that is put into the core facilities. And what do I mean by that? So when I was in St. Louis, if I wanted to do mass spectrometry, which is very important for my science, I had to find a collaborator somewhere. I had to convince them that, what we were doing is exciting, and then we would work together. Whereas at the Stowers Institute, if I want to do something, I think about it and I just walk across the hall and I talk to the person who's the world expert in mass spectrometry or in microscopy or in molecular biology.
Few places make it so easy to find an expert just down the hall. The core centers present a tremendous efficiency of time and cost for the researchers. A unique example of this efficiency is a robot designed to curate and clean hundreds of thousands of genetic research subjects called Drosophila melanogaster, or the common fruit fly. One of 3 in the whole world, the fly transfer robot can work for up to 8.5 hours cleaning and replacing fresh vials for the flies, which are perfect laboratory specimens because they reproduce quickly, they're easy to screen, and they're genetically similar to humans.
There's a lot of things in fruit flies that work the same way in humans. We have a lot of similar genes or genes that perform similar functions. So understanding how something works in an organism like a fruit fly or a worm or a mouse or a little leech-looking thing like a planaria, those are translatable to people. Even though they're not the exact same way, they're very similar.
Another benefit, for the most part, scientists don't become emotionally attached to these research subjects.
Some people do name their flies, which I find a little strange and confusing also, just because there's so many of them, but yeah.
Danny Miller is researching meiotic recombination, or DNA repair, while attending medical school at the University of Kansas. This is just one example of the kinds of collaborations that emerge from here. Dr. Aaron Guest is another example. The assistant professor of pediatrics and hematology and oncology joined forces with Dr. Shalotafard to combat childhood leukemia.
I found out about Dr. Ali Shalati's lab, where the lab is studying the basic science of MLL gene rearrangements in leukemia. So it's very applicable to infants who have leukemia, and Dr. Shalotafard offered me a position here as a doctoral fellow to study this leukemia. My goal is to be able to translate from the patient to the bench, basically taking the patient's samples, their bone marrow and their blood samples, to the processing center here at Stowers Institute, where we can study the cells. And our goal is to figure out what is causing their leukemia, why is it so difficult to treat, and ultimately how we can do a better job of treating it.
The scientists here also play a role as educators. In 2011, Stowers initiated the Graduate School of the Stowers Institute for Medical Research as a way to educate pre-doctoral students in research-based biology. Undergrads can also get their hands into meaningful science through Stowers' Summer Scholars Program. And postdoctoral students ranked Stowers as one of the top places to work. So, from training the next generation to getting down to the nitty-gritty of our genetic makeup, the scientists here all agree on the fundamental reasons why they work at Stowers.
I describe our work as 99% failure and 1% success, and that we look for that 1%.
We're working towards making everyone's life better.
I think science is one of the most fun things you can do. You know, every day is a detective story.
And what comes out of the Stowers Institute does not only benefit me and my 20 other colleagues who are faculty in here, it benefits the whole world, because what we generate in here, we freely make available to everybody on the outside.
Randy, something else I learned is that art is quite prevalent at Stowers Institute. Really? And some of those images that you saw are taken from microscopy, and they're displayed once a year, and people walk through and will judge them. And it's so cool that Stowers is considering creating a calendar with these absolutely beautiful images.
I like that.
It's not really surprising if you think about it that art is so important, because Jim and Virginia Stowers are quite prominent art collectors. And as you walk through the Institute, you can see several of their pieces up on the wall or up on pedestals. It's really cool.
Well, thank you, Pam, for your report. As you saw, there is plenty of education going on at Stowers all the time, some of it at the postdoctoral level. We're going to turn now to some innovative new STEM studies being done at the 5th grade level, part of a special mentoring program that the engineering firm Black & Veatch has created in partnership with KCPT. Take a look at some of the footage Dave Burkhart brought back for us.
For the last several weeks, we have been working with Black & Veatch to introduce the students to engineering, which is a career that many of them have no background knowledge in and do not understand. Before we began the program, they asked questions, and some of the questions were, are you basically a plumber? So it's a career that they really don't know about. We have had the opportunity to learn about how engineers apply their careers in the area of water and electricity.
The program that we're doing with Black & Veatch is I believe helping our students learn more about science and the science field, and that science is more than just somebody in a lab coat working in their laboratory, that scientists are actually real people that deal with real problems that we face on a daily basis.
Well, hopefully we're giving kids the idea that science and math is cool and it's fun and it's something they can be interested in and make a great career out of. By getting into the younger classes, hopefully we're giving them a little bit of a pathway and an option to explore, and hopefully that'll lead to more engineers and scientists being involved.
I think the favorite project has been when they were trying to find kinetic and potential energy.
So if we stretch a rubber band and we give the ball a chance to right? So what kind of energy is in here right now if we stretch it? Potential, yeah.
Next one I like is when Mr. Sam, we did this battery thing, we had to make a circuit where we had to use these wires to connect to a bulb so we can make the bulb light and make electricity.
Shelley Arnett from Black & Veatch with us now. And Shelley, that's some great interaction there. Kids learning about kinetic energy, light bulbs. But I enjoyed the part where one of the teachers told us when they first talked about engineers with the kids, they wondered if they were plumbers.
Yes, there's a lot of mistaken ideas out there about what engineers do, if they wear hats and drive trains, or what is involved in engineering. And so we were able to really interact, have our engineers get into the classrooms and not only talk to the students, but also just interact with them on those fun activities that the kids really, they enjoy those hands-on type of activities versus just being lectured to all day.
But I'm wondering, why 5th graders?
I think that's really a key point at the age that they are, that they're starting to kind of explore what do they want to do when they get older, and they get opportunities in junior high and in middle school to start picking kind of some classes. It's not so, these are the classes you're definitely going to take, but here's some choices for you to start looking into. And so we really targeted that age because of those that impact that we can make. Also for girls, that's a really key age with math and science, and that's when we see a lot of the girls start to kind of wonder, okay, am I smart enough? Can I do this? And so being able to let the girls know this is what you could do as an engineer, this is what you could do with math and science is really important for them to see the bigger picture and how they can really help people.
Well, a recruiting tool down the line perhaps for Black & Veatch, but in the meantime, sort of a resource, I don't say drain, but certainly you guys have to put some stuff into this. How come you'd say, well, it's worth, let's send Mr. Sam and the other engineers down there?
Well, I think for several reasons. I think first of all, like you said, I mean, definitely workforce preparation is very important. We are going to be seeing a shortage in the next few years of engineers and people going into science and technology that are graduating, but also just to be able to, again, going back to the education and opening up their eyes to see what in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, what the opportunities are. I think with our engineers being able to help with that curriculum and develop that was very key to this as well. They were able to really be engaging to the students and get them more interested as well.
And when they came back, did they feel like they just sort of done their duty for a while, or did you get a sense that there was a little more to it?
Oh, I think they got just as much as the kids did, because several of them came back and said, "Wow, what great students there were in the classroom, or how fun it was, and hey, what other opportunities are there? Can we do this some more? And can I get into the classroom again?" So there's definitely a lot of those people that got to interact with fifth graders that they wouldn't normally get to interact with because maybe they don't have any at home yet, or that they just haven't been in that seat for a while.
And the Hickman Mills School District is where this particular activity was headed. Maybe another district down the line, or some other targets?
Yeah, it could be. We have a really good relationship with Ruskin High School. We have a partnership with the Academy of Engineering program there, and so why we picked the Hickman Mills School District was because of that reason.
You got any chance to go, play with the experiments, see how some of these things work personally?
I did. Well, I didn't get to do any of the engineering experiments. I don't know if that would be a wise decision or not, but I was able to get in the classroom along with someone from the EPA, and we were able to talk about what a carbon footprint is, and really and going back to what career opportunities there are, because like I said before, a lot of them had never heard of an engineer, and if they did, they thought well, they ride on a train all day. And so being able to explain, okay, this is what the science and technology and math, and this is how it all forms together for engineering. And so it was a lot of fun and very high energy, which is great. It's a lot of fun to be in the classroom again.
It's probably something that when people see this on KCPT, partnering here with you, it's probably going to maybe make your phone ring a little bit, you think?
That would be great. We welcome those opportunities to partner. And you'd asked about, what's down the road. Well, I can definitely see either with another district doing something about the same way, or even carrying on and maybe going back to those now sixth graders next year and doing something again with them to kind of continue their interest in those areas.
All right. The mentoring program with Black & Veatch, Shelly Arnett, thanks for coming down and thanks for being a great partner on this, I think, really interesting way to take engineering into the schools and prove that they're not just plumbers.
That's right. Thank you. It's been a great opportunity for us as well.
Monday, April 8th marks Holocaust Remembrance Day. The Holocaust was the systematic state-sponsored persecution and murder of some 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime during World War II. Throughout the month, KCPT will pay tribute to this tragic chapter in history with special programming. Tonight at 10, we have Echoes of the Holocaust, the story of Holocaust survivors who serve as tour guides to the memorial in Miami Beach. This Sunday night, KCPT features a pair of programs. First, Rescue in the Philippines, Refuge from the Holocaust, about a group of poker buddies who helped save 1,300 Jews in concentration camps. That's at 6 p.m. Then at 9, Defiant Requiem, Voices of Resistance, about Jewish inmates at the Terezin camp who fought back with the power of music. Locally, many of you may be aware that the Midwest Center for Holocaust Education does great work year-round out in Overland Park at the Jewish Community Center. They have a multitude of resources available to the public, including a vast archive of video and audio testimonials like this one with Kansas City and Ralph Barretts, describing what it was like as a toddler hiding from the Nazis with his family in the Netherlands.
We were like in a little ditch below the level where the house was, and I remember what I wore. I can remember, the sounds that were going on, and they were screaming and yelling that here was all the evidence, and they knew that we were hiding there, and where were we? And they sort of went marching around, and I think the only reason we survived was because the weather was just so terrible that it just didn't seem worth the effort to them.
And finally, the Kansas City Museum, in partnership with UMKC, is nearing the end of a traveling exhibition produced by the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. Nazi Persecution of Homosexuals, 1933 to 1945. It's a chronicle of the German government's attempts to terrorize gay men with arrests, convictions, and removal to concentration camps. The exhibit is free. It's at the Miller-Nichols Library on the UMKC campus, but you will have to hurry. It ends April 10th. As always, you can go to our website at thelocalshow.org for more on these local programs and anything else you might have seen here in the last half hour. Till next week, I'm Randy Mason. Thanks for watching The Local Show here on KCPT.
Principal funding for The Local Show provided by Francis Family Foundation, Frederick and Louise Hartwig Family Fund, Kaufman Foundation, Healthcare Foundation of Greater Kansas City, Johnson County Community College, John and Effie Spees Memorial Trust, Bank of America trustee, Richard J. Stern Foundation for the Arts, Commerce Bank trustee, and KCPT members. Thank you. Special coverage on KCPT of the Greater Kansas City Chamber's Big Five initiatives is funded by Burns and McDonnell, with additional financial support from Swope Community Enterprises, and by